Hey, this is Mark Allen. Thanks for watching 4-Color Commentary. A few things to cover today. First of all, I want to go back to a video we did a few months ago. The boys and I did a few months ago. I want to talk about, first of all, the Falcon and Winter Soldier series that's going to play on Disney's streaming service, which is is scheduled to launch, I think, November 12th. And so I think it's called Disney Plus. Anyway, there's going to be in 2020 sometime a Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show. Now, a few months ago, the boys and I talked about an image that John Cena had posted with him as Captain America, and you know, it kind of looked, it didn't have, it was an empty suit, but with his proportions and his dog tags around the neck. We thought that was kind of intriguing. Well, now news comes out, strong rumors out there, I should say, not news, but rumors, that John Cena is going to play John Walker, the man who was Captain America for a time, and then he went on to become U.S. agent. Haven't heard anybody mention, though, the first character that he showed up as, and that was found in this, Captain America, Volume 1, number 323. If you don't have it yet, if you don't have one, starting to heat up on eBay already, but you might go out there and try to find you one in the dollar bins, because I know for a fact they can still be found there. But this is John Walker's first appearance as the Super Patriot. And so the Super Patriot was one that became kind of a thorn in Cap's side for quite some time, and had some sidekicks with him called the Buckies. And this is not a first. The 323 is the first appearance. I included 327 because it's a great Mike Zeck cover where Super Patriot and Cap go at it once more. And from there, though, there's a storyline called The Captain. And here's the thing. I'm going to show you a video of that here in just a moment. But there's a storyline called The Captain, in which Steve Rogers is told to turn in his Captain America uniform to the government because he is supposed to be a government agent. And he refuses, so he turns it in. And John Walker is tapped to become the new Cap. And a lot of problems are uncovered subsequently within John Walker. I'm going to go first, before we go any further, I'm going to go to a video review of that story, because if you've never read this story, this would be a great story for you to read in preparation for the 2020 release. Not sure when in 2020, but the 2020 release of Captain America and let me get this right, the Falcon and Winter Soldier series, because eventually they're saying John Cena will show up there as the new Captain America or U.S. agent. We're not sure, but these are all rumors at the time. But anyway, here's the video. Take a look.
Comics events come and comics events go, but relatively few leave a 25-plus year impression. The Captain America story, entitled simply The Captain, leaves just such an indelible mark. Originally published in a story which ran from 1987 to 1989 and collected in a very large trade paperback in 2011, it could be argued that this tale is one of the character's all-time high points. The premise is straightforward. The United States government demands that Captain America work directly and exclusively for said governing body, as per his original World War II agreement. Refusing their request, Steve Rogers relinquishes his longtime masked identity and takes up a new mantle as the Captain. Meanwhile, John Walker is made the new Captain America. However, to paraphrase Robert Burns, the best laid plans of men and governments often go awry. Writer Mark Gruenwald penned a truly absorbing tale, containing as much action and drama as any Cap fan could want. Add to that captivating, if sometimes a bit obvious, character expansion, as well as plenty of conflict and near-perfect build-up to an extremely satisfying climax, and you have a story that truly feels like a match for anything on the racks today. Artistically, Tom Morgan handled the first 6 issues of the story with a rugged style which served well. But Kyron Dwyer, who was quite new to the industry at the time, took over with issue 338 and blew up the pages with an intensity and enthusiasm which fairly leapt off the page. Taking to the superhero fair like the proverbial duck to water, His characters were dynamic and emotive, and his storytelling ability kept the fever-pitch pace alive throughout the narrative. The Captain is a Captain America yarn that holds up well. It's a fan favorite to this day and is highly recommended. Find it at comics shops, comics conventions, and online retailers and auctions. But try your local comic shop first.
All right, so great read. One of the best Captain America stories I've ever read. Just a great read. If you haven't read that, go out and find it either in comic book form. That's always fun to hunt those down, hunt those issues down, and then or in in trade paperback form. So it's a little piece of comic trivia. It overlaps somewhat into the Iron Man Armor Wars, the first Armor Wars storyline. And so anyway, exciting stuff coming out. Really neat to hear that John Cena could be playing the new Captain America, the U.S. agent. I think he'd be great in that role. I think he could pull off what's needed for that character. All right. Next thing I wanted to talk about, well, let's see, I'll just mention this. Diecast. People who watch my videos know I'm into diecast. Every once in a while, I'll grab a diecast figure from Takara Tomy. It's an overseas outfit. It takes a little longer to get their stuff, and for some reason, some of these diecast figures have been heating up lately. Not quite sure why, but I mean they've been wanting more for them, I should say. May have something to do with tariffs or taxes, who knows? But I mostly grab the Iron Man figures, and I grabbed this one just recently. This came in the mail yesterday, and this is the Iron Man with the nano armor from the Endgame movie. But let's see if you got to get an image of that. He has the ion cannon or whatever that was, a repulsor cannon there. And these are mostly die cast and with some plastic. The arms are plastic. The legs are not. But the arms have to be able to bend, so they've made them plastic. But anyway, it's kind of a neat little item to put on my die cast shelf. Now, here's something that I could have talked about last video, but I didn't. A Bleeding Cool article from last month on Rob Liefeld predicting DC's end in the near future. This kind of came out of left field, and I don't know if this is an attention-getting ploy by Rob Liefeld or what exactly this is. But a few things that Rob cited as reasons why he believes DC is about to go down the drain. One of them is the graphic nature of Batman Damned #1. And we won't go into that. You probably know about that. If you don't, go look it up. I'm not going to talk about it. But the other was the cancellation of Second Coming. Also the end of DC's Vertigo imprint, and even pulling Tom King off of Batman. And those are a few of the big reasons that Rob looks at these and he sees, oh, well, DC is obviously about to fold in the near future. Getting my popcorn, he says. I don't get what what he's getting from this. I don't understand why he thinks this is the heralding of DC's end, because DC is actually in the process of shuffling things around, which big business does, Rob, every once in a while. Big business has to shuffle things around, move things around, make some changes to remain relevant in whatever field they're excelling in, especially if they've been around for as long as DC has. And so a few things that were mentioned in this Bleeding Cool article, which will really go to the point of really just kind of proving that this is foolishness on Liefeld's part, I believe, is that DC is, first of all, neck and neck with Marvel in units and new sales sold in recent sales. The recent sales charts have them even with Marvel in units sold. What's more is they are higher in units per title. So they're selling more of their titles on average, more copies of their titles than Marvel is. And so, there's really no reason to believe that DC is going under. Besides, what I always say at the end of the day, DC Comics is owned by Warner Brothers, and if nothing else, those comic books are a promotion, if you will, for movies. And they could pour, a company as large as Warner could pour their promotions budget into comics and keep the comics side going, especially if they slash titles way back, which I could make an argument that they need to do that. DC and Marvel both, I think, need to slash a lot of titles. There's no, despite news a while back of Marvel doing that or planning to do that, I don't think that's come about. But what I get mostly from this Bleeding Cool article is that Liefeld is acting, I think, strangely, tweeting strangely. Being a few things. If you go to this Bleeding Cool article and just look for Rob Liefeld articles, you'll find it. But he's flippant to Mark Millar in one tweet when Mark seeks to defend the quality of what DC's turning out these days. He's kind of flippant to Mark. He talks about not caring if it hurts his chances for DC work. Now, what professional comics artist wants to burn all bridges with DC Comics or Marvel Comics? I don't care how independently minded you are. It's foolish. It's dumb business to burn your bridges with either of the big two, and they are the big two. And so who does that? Who goes out and says, he's obviously somebody who, maybe he really believes DC is about to go under. But I tend to think maybe he's just full of Rob Liefeld. Okay, he's full of himself, and he's drunk his own Kool-Aid maybe. But he also made the statement on his Twitter page that anyone who attempts to lecture him will be blocked. In other words, heaven forbid, I suppose, that you try to give a lengthy retort to what Rob believes is the truth and what's going to happen in the very near future. Just strange behavior. But, you know, with DC being owned by Warner, I guess my question is, ultimately for the fans, is DC is owned by Warner. Rob Liefeld has his reputation and quite controversial as to whether or not the stuff he turns out is good stuff or otherwise. My question for the fans would be, which will go away first, in your opinion? DC Comics or Major X? Anyway, I'm Mark Allen for 4 Color Commentary. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.